Look at me now. We on a whole nother level. My foot on the pedal, my eyes on the crown. Look at me now. We on a whole nother level. Bigger than ever, we back. Okay, okay. We back. Okay. Bigger than ever, we back. Wait on it, put it.
It's Saturday in Tuscaloosa as we welcome you to the SEC on ESPN. From Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama, looking to bounce back after their 8-game win streak was snapped with Eastern Illinois in Tuscaloosa. Hi, everybody. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. We'll be joined by Tori Petrie down on the field in just a moment. A lot of attention this week, Rocky, already on next week's Iron Bowl and all the championship goals that are still ahead for this Crimson Tide program. But first things first, you got to play well today.
Yeah, I know Alabama fans are upset about the loss to Oklahoma last week, but the way I see it, you win these next two, you're in the college football playoffs. So an opportunity today against EIU to clean up some things, to finish strong in that Iron Bowl. And I think the number one thing, Jay, and I know you agree, fixing that run game. Kalen DeBoer told us yesterday he thought against Oklahoma they had some very well executed runs with some better vision, really could have popped. Special teams always been a big factor for them. Last week they have the blocked field goal, the fumble punt return, got to clean that up and then just continue to fly around on defense.
Well, one thing that Kalen DeBoer told us about his players this week is they have been resilient. The response is everything you'd hope it would be if you're an Alabama fan, right, Tori?
Yeah, Jay, players told me that this week in the building felt so much different than after their week 1 loss to FSU. After that FSU loss, they were a little shell-shocked. They asked, are we who we thought we were? But after the Oklahoma loss, they had already flushed it by the time they walked off the field and into the locker room. Linebacker Deontay Lawson told me, we know we are a resilient team at this point in the season. We have already proved it, and everything we want is still in front of us. Their number one goal today is just to play mistake-free football, Jay.
Big opportunity to do it on a Saturday. Looking for that immediate response, restore the win streak here in Tuscaloosa. They'll have to do it against Chris Wilkerson and Eastern Illinois, program out of the OVC that is coming in tough form. They have lost 6 in a row. They have 25 players out for the season, and now you're at Saban Field, Bryant-Denny Stadium on a Saturday in November with Alabama still very much alive for the college football playoff race and an SEC championship appearance. And one thing that the Panthers do, Rocky, is a 2-quarterback system. It's been this way all season long. Cole LaRue and Connor Wolf, the 2 quarterbacks, and it's LaRue, the redshirt sophomore, transferred in from Wisconsin, who starts.
Yeah, and Cole LaCrue is more the running quarterback. Wolf a little bit more the passer. So I think with them wanting to keep this game moving a little bit, we'll see a lot of LaCrue.
LaCrue, the more mobile quarterback. Wolf is the passer, so if they get into those 3rd and long situations against this Alabama defense, expect to see him. Trying to run it on first down into a crimson wall. Charles Kellum stuck to the line.
Yeah, and very interesting, Jay. You know, Coach Wilkerson talked about that, having a 2-quarterback system the whole year. Something you don't see a lot of, but he thought that daily competition between those 2 guys has helped make them their best.
Going against an Alabama defense that has played fast, confident, particularly in SEC play, 4 ranked wins, and even in the loss last week, the only area that tripped them up, 3 missed tackles on the lone touchdown allowed, and they've got their ears pinned back on 2nd and 11. First sack of the afternoon belongs to Tim Keenan.
Yeah, a lot of crimson jerseys stacked right up on that line. That's a pretty formidable scene for LaCrue. 8 guys up in that box coming after you.
Well, what did Tori say? Play fast. That's exactly what the Crimson Tide defense looks like on this opening possession. I mentioned only the 1 defensive touchdown allowed in the loss to Oklahoma. The one thing Kane Womack wanted to see from his defense is a turnover. They were -3 in the turnover margin. They're +10 in the first 9 weeks of the season, one of the best in college football. Couple of missed tackles there, pushing the pile, and that's an Eastern Illinois first down. On 3rd and 15, the Panthers with Charles Kellum run for 17 to keep the opening drive alive.
And that's one thing the Crimson Tide needed to clean up, some subpar tackling last week. And there's, what, 3, maybe 4 missed tackles, and then the push to get the first down. Kane Wommack can't be happy about that here early on.
And that's the thing for Alabama today. Regardless of opponent, you need to tackle, you need to execute. On a 3rd and 15, you need to get the offense off the field, and instead, Eastern Illinois moves the chains. LeCroux on the run, bobbled ball, and it's intercepted. We just talked about takeaways, and Dejon Lee, the true freshman corner, with a timely interception there to give Alabama the ball.
Jay, coming into the Oklahoma game, the Crimson Tide defense had the most takeaways per game in the SEC. They got none last week, and then here on just the second drive, what an incredible catch, pinning the ball against the wide receiver Darius Smith. Dejon Lee, what incredibly athletic play.
Lee just pinned that ball against the helmet of Smith.
The helmet catch 2.0.
Second interception of the season for Dejon Lee, and excellent starting field position for Ty Simpson in this Crimson Tide offense. First and 10. Handoff jam Miller. You know, Rocky, what do you like about Ty Simpson coming into this one?
Well, I like the accuracy, especially for a first-year quarterback. I think he's had explosive plays. He exploits the middle parts of the field better than I've seen any young quarterback. I think the key for Simpson is just learning as you go on when to give up on a play instead of trying to make something happen and putting the ball in harm's way.
And Simpson in the offense, they're already in enemy territory here for their first drive of the afternoon. And off again. Miller bounces outside the numbers, lowers his shoulder, and this will set up 3rd and short as we check in with Tori.
Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb is actually down on the field for the first time this season. Usually he is upstairs in the box. Rocky, curious your thoughts there. Maybe a little bit helpful when some of these younger guys possibly get a chance later in this game?
Yeah, that could be the fact there, Tori, but also, you know, I think if you're ever going to experiment with something, maybe being down on the field, this is probably the week to do it. So different vantage point for Ryan Grubb. We'll see how that works out today.
3rd and 3 test for Grubb. Ty Simpson in this Alabama offense. They keep it on the ground, trying to establish that run. Not going to get there. Needed 3, only got 1. Jawan Nixon, outstanding tackle. And he's a Tuscaloosa native playing for Eastern Illinois. Went to high school 8 miles from Bryant-Denny Stadium at local Hillcrest High School.
He's the top tackler on this team. They're going to go for it here, Jay.
Trying to convert on 4th down. Eastern Illinois jumped. It's a free play. Simpson throws. It's caught. Isaiah Horton. So they had the first down anyway because Eastern Illinois jumped, but a successful first completion for Simpson to Horton.
Offside on the defense, number 9, in the neutral zone at the snap. That penalty is declined. The resulting play is a first down.
Yeah, I think they were content to run this ball here, but then, I mean, very smart heads-up play. Ty Simpson sees the offsides and goes to the outside part of the field with hitting Horton. But it's this run game. We talked about the top, Jay. Really want to get this thing going. A lot of inside zone. They really like to weigh heavy on that.
Simpson, good protection, steps up, fires it over the middle, finds Horton again inside the 10 for another Alabama first down.
That's an inside breaking route we talked about. That's Ty Simpson for a first-year kid, and also a kid who's not, you know, 6'5" back there. He's really good throwing those in-breaking dig routes.
Alabama trying to get that run game established early. They've struggled today against Eastern Illinois running the ball. Failed to pick up the first down on 3 carries, so they go to the air.
Daniel Hill in at running back here.
He had a nose for the end zone last week against Oklahoma. Gets the ball here. Diving to the pylon. He's just short. Trying to break the plane. Marked down inside the 1.
And pretty good surge there. Nice job. Got Gino Vandermark, who's playing center today, with a nice block.
Low snap. Simpson got it out quickly, and Ryan Williams dropped it in the end zone. That's the execution you were talking about pre-kick, Rocky.
Yeah, I think that was a hot route there. He looked out to the outside and saw Ryan Williams. No one was covering him, so hot. Trying to shoot that ball, but Ryan Williams got to secure the catch before you turn upfield.
Alabama failed to convert their last third down attempt. They did pick it up on fourth to keep the drive alive. 3rd and goal here. Simpson goes under center, barking orders at his offensive line. Jam Miller behind him, gets the carry into the end zone to open the scoring. Touchdown, Alabama.
Actually had a big guy, an offensive lineman, William Sanders, playing the H-back, coming through and getting a nice kick-out block. Hitting that ball right up in the A-gap there for Jam Miller.
There's an injured Eastern Illinois Panther right at the goal line. Head coach Chris Wilkerson and the Panthers medical team out to take a look at him. After the Dejon Lee interception, Alabama goes 46 yards and 8 plays to cash in on a short field. Now we'll step aside as Eastern Illinois continues their medical treatment. Alabama opens the scoring 6-0. It was the defensive tackle Trayvon Piggy who was down for Eastern Illinois. He got helped up, walked off the field under his own power. And now Alabama can set up with the extra point. Connor Talty puts it right through. And Jam Miller opens the scoring Saturday in Tuscaloosa. They're trying to get the run game going, Rocky.
Yeah, they did. The big interception by Dejon Lee gets the ball back to the offense. Pretty heavy run-oriented. Then Jam Miller punches it in for the touchdown. 7-0 Alabama.
Alabama 7-0 lead early. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. Rocky, you played 8 years at linebacker in the NFL. You love a great linebacker, and you were telling us all week Deontay Lawson fits that bill.
I think he's a total package. And early in the year, still coming back from that ACL, but I think in the last couple weeks, he's really looked like the old Deontay Lawson right there, playing down the line, fighting off blocks, making a tackle. And any great linebacker, look, the communication, always pointing out where guys should be, but you got to be able to tackle solo in the open field. He comes up, brings the ball carrier to the ground, and then you got to make big plays. This was a couple weeks ago against South Carolina, tie ball game in the 4th quarter, reaches in there, boom, pops that ball out, gets it back to the offense. They go down and score. And the thing you love about Lawson, too, is he didn't come in starting right away, but he's earned his position, and he has been a fantastic playmaker.
Ed Torrey, he's enjoying his 2nd senior day here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, guys, he had just torn that ACL last November before senior day last year, so he wasn't able to walk, and he thought that was going to be his last game at Bryant-Denny, and he got a little emotional this week reflecting on that time in his life. He told me, really thinking back, I just felt like I had more to pour into my teammates, and that was one of the main reasons why he came back to this program this year. His defensive coordinator said he was an elite leader last year. This year, he is on an absolutely different level.
Yeah, the one thing that Alabama pointed out to us is there are 3 linebackers that get the vast majority of the snaps, all seniors. So today's an opportunity to see what the young guys can bring. You see QB Reese, 36, in there for Lawson right now as Bray Hubbard makes the play.
Yeah, but there's QB Reese. And that's one thing about Alabama. They are not scared to play a freshman out there. They want to get these great athletes, these 4- and 5-star guys out on the field. And as you said, Jay, a great opportunity today to get some experience.
On the opening drive for Eastern Illinois, Dejon Lee had the interception. Takeaway, such a big part of this program. And they got nearly another here. Fumble to the 1-yard line. Tim Keenan pried it free. Inches away from what it would have been an Alabama defensive touchdown.
And it was Tim Keenan who, on the last series, had the big play in the backfield. I mean, that's just a hard guy to block. 6'2", 320, low center of gravity, powerful. That's going to be a handful for EIU today.
The right guard, Dan Gazina, jumped on that football and saved what would have been an Alabama touchdown. Eastern Illinois backed up to the 1-inch line here. Taking the snap out of the end zone. 3rd down, just trying to avoid the safety.
And the Crimson Tide defense, they smell the blood in the water. They are coming downhill to try to get that safety. Weren't able to force it, but and Bray Hubbard, a couple nice plays. The junior.
If you're Kane Womack and this Alabama defensive staff, this is exactly what you want to see. He said, regardless of opponent, the standard is the standard. We need to be fast and aggressive. They load up on the punt block attempt. Mason Miller gets it away cleanly. Cole Adams the return. Back into Panthers territory past the 40. A great start for Tim Keenan and this Alabama defense. This was him pregame.
How about this? Signing autographs for young fans, taking pictures, meeting with the people. Love it. Well, seeing the big fella out there play. He's been a force for this Alabama defense. I mean, you think Alabama defense, you think trenches, right? You think those defensive lines really set the tone for them.
Favorable starting field position once again. Both Alabama drives now have started in Eastern Illinois territory. They go right back to the run game. Kevin Riley into the secondary, gain of 9. Yeah, Ryan Grubb wants to establish that run. It was the #1 thing on your checklist. Rocky, they've got 3 straight games under 100 yards rushing for the first time since 2004.
Yeah, I don't think this backfield has any true home run hitters in it, so it does come down to consistency and, you know, reading the blocks right, a little bit better vision out of the running backs. That's what Ryan Grubb wanted to see here today. But got to get that run game, make it efficient here for the final push.
Keep it on the ground. A couple of missed tackles, and Riley picks up the first down for the Crimson Tide. You know, all the great Alabama teams that have finished the season as SEC champions or national champions, the backbone of it is that elite run game.
It always comes back to that, right? You know, you talk about things you do in the pass game, and this is a very formidable passing attack for the Crimson Tide, but you talk about playoffs, it usually always comes down to those front sevens.
You look at that, second fewest since 1940. So if you're gonna go to beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl and potentially win an SEC championship and make a run at the college football playoff, have to get that run game improved. And Kalen DeBoer said, look, even the stats can be misleading. We had 110 yards rushing last week, but then we negate 30 of it because of sacks we took.
Well, and also he pointed out, we went back and watched, there were some opportunities where the blocking was great. It's just some of the running back vision, a couple of holes they missed that could have ripped off some 20, 30-yard runs. He thought this offensive line gets a little more criticism maybe than they deserve. It's kind of a team effort. You need those backs to complement that offensive line.
And it's an offensive line that's reshuffled today with starting center Parker Brailsford out of the lineup. Simpson rolling right, tosses it, and finds Rico Scott. He's bounced out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. And Brailsford, not the only starter missing for this Alabama offense. Their top wide receiver, Jeremy Bernard, out. And their top tight end, Josh Cuevas, is out. So 3 key missing pieces here today.
Yeah, and Cuevas, he injured his foot in practice this week. That's a big loss.
Expecting to get Bernard and Brailsford back for Auburn a week from today. Handoff. Right up the middle, Daniel Daniel Hill. After 2 touchdowns against Oklahoma a week ago, Hill finds the end zone again. And Alabama cashes in on 2 short fields. And field position, the name of the game, Rocky. 2 offensive possessions that have started in Eastern Illinois territory, and they punch both of them in.
Jay, here today, that offensive line. Wilkham Formsby goes down from right tackle to right guard. Watch 75 with the chip and then the push, the kick out. A beautiful hole for Daniel Hill, and the Crimson Tide up 2 scores.
SEC football continues tonight. Death Valley, 7:45 Eastern, 6:45 Central on the SEC Network. LSU taking on the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. Alabama leads 14-0 against Eastern Illinois out of the OVC. They've got a great football lineage, the Panthers. They've produced some Super Bowl winning head coaches, including Mike Shanahan, who won them with John Elway and the Broncos, and then Sean Payton, who obviously won it with the Saints, and now the current head coach of the Broncos. And then some Pro Bowl quarterbacks, Tony Romo, and then most recently Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, in my first year in broadcasting, 2013, I called a playoff game at EIU. Young quarterback named Jimmy Garoppolo. He passed for over 5,000 yards that year.
And speaking of Eastern Illinois quarterbacks, Connor Wolf in the game, 2-quarterback system. They gave Cole LeCrue the first 2 possessions. An interception and nearly a fumble that was recovered at the 1-yard line. Eastern Illinois did well to jump on that and preserve the possession. So here's Wolf, more your traditional pocket passer, the redshirt freshman from Ada, Michigan.
Yeah, he's not going to run around much at all. He likes to sit back in that pocket and try to go through the progressions and find an open guy.
Easier said than done when you're facing this defense.
Yeah, they got to make sure they block Tim Keenan.
And off Jakari Fleming. Completely stuffed QB Reese, the first to the runner there.
That's the second nice play by QB Reese early in this game. Redshirt freshman from Birmingham.
There's somebody that the people in this program are very high on. Deontay Lawson said that's my mini-me. Third and 10. Wolf gets rid of it quickly. It was deflected at the line of scrimmage and nearly intercepted. Alabama inches away from getting the fumble on the previous possession, inches away from another interception there. They have been hunting the football, playing fast, aggressive. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Crimson Tide fan.
That's what Kane Womack told us yesterday. He felt like, you know, they're finally really playing fast with the block punt.
Now getting it on special teams. A blocked punt gives Alabama excellent field position.
And we thought that might be an issue for EIU. They've had 5 punts blocked or deflected this year, and that makes number 6. Really just coming right up the pipe.
Luke Metz, the freshman linebacker. Combined with Keon Keeley, those two getting in on the play. We're talking about flying around and making plays. You do it in all 3 phases. A dominant first quarter.
As we talked about, another factor, getting that special teams back to being a factor, and there it is.
Simpson taking over in the red zone. Aaron throw there. Overshot Jam Miller out of the backfield.
And Coach DeBoer told us yesterday, it's, you know, as great of a year it's been, it's important to remember that he's still a first-year starter, and there's so much, you know, that reps can get you. The more reps you get, you find what works, you find what doesn't. So he's still certainly learning, all the while having a great season.
And sometimes you can learn the most after a loss.
Correct.
I certainly feel like that's the case for Simpson after that opening week loss to Florida State. Responds with 8 straight wins and so much improvement. First flag of the day comes out. We'll get the penalty call here.
Holding on the offense, number 30, 10-yard penalty. Play second down.
Yeah, that's Derek Meadows, the freshman wide receiver. He's a guy they think very highly of him, think can be a factor. You just see it right there. You see the left arm getting around the neck of the defender. But Meadows, I mean, 6'5", 212, true freshman. Certainly an opportunity for him here today.
So the ball plays just outside the red zone now at the 22-yard line after the holding call. A.K. Deer into the backfield for Alabama. His last carry came all the way back on September 13th. Get some action here with Alabama up 2 touchdowns early. Deer in motion. Simpson, quick hitter, right to Deer. Bobbles the ball, holds on to it, and falls forward to the 20-yard line.
And Ryan Grubb told us yesterday they wanted to get A.K. Deer involved in this game because they think they're lacking in maybe some great vision out of their running backs. They really like the vision of A.K. Deer. Expect to see him today and see what he can do.
Freshman out of Mississippi. Elite explosives and vision if he can find the hole. Simpson checks it down to him. Deer makes the catch. Takes it inside the 10-yard line.
And that was a good job by Simpson there. I know you want the big play, you want to get the first down, but sometimes it ain't there. Best thing to do is just check the ball down. Live to fight another day. Well, nice block by the umpire. And they're going to line up and attempt a field goal here.
A lot of talk about Connor Talty of the field goal unit. A lot has been made after his miss heading into halftime against Oklahoma. Seen yelling at the long snapper David Byrd for a high snap. Kalen DeBoer told us, look, the entire operation needs to be better. Good snap, good hold, but Talty missed it. From 28 out, and the boos ring out at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Kalen DeBoer told us we need to limit the unforced errors across the board. The field goal unit, a good example.
And look at the snap and the hold. Perfect snap, perfect hold. There's no one to blame right there. And then Talty. That's a 28-yard field goal. That is considered a chip shot. Wow, that is something that must be addressed moving forward if Alabama wants to go the places they want to go. You just can't have it.
Beginning next week at Auburn for the Iron Bowl, then potentially an SEC championship game, a college football playoff run. And look, the noise was very loud about Talty coming after that miss against Oklahoma, and DeBoer was able to deflect a lot of it, saying it's not just him, it's the whole operation. But at the end of the day, we need to execute. This was last week.
And, okay, snap's a little bit high, but I mean, if I'm being honest, the hold was great. Good job getting that ball down, and now he's jawing at David Byrd.
More than any position in this game, the field goal kicker is so mental.
Oh, it absolutely. It's like a golfer on a green making a putt. You know, you can do it 100 times out of 100, and then one time your thoughts get in your head a little bit, and I think that may be what's going on with Talty.
Based off the reaction of the crowd, the boos rang out immediately. That noise is not going to get any quieter heading in to Auburn next week.
No, that absolutely must be addressed. And he knew right when he hit it that he'd pushed it to the right.
Kalen DeBoer, his message was simple. Limit the unforced errors. And that's, look, special teams, but also defense and offense. But the unit that is not limiting those unforced errors right now is Connor Talty and that field goal team. Alabama still a 2-touchdown lead. Final play of the first quarter, 3rd and 4. Trying to go up the middle with Charles Kellum. He's stopped shy, needed 4, only got 2. Well, still a good weekend for Kellum and all the alma maters of St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati. A big win for Rocky Boyman and all the Bombers out there.
Welcome back to Tuscaloosa, where Connor Talty just missed a chip shot field goal, and he's visibly frustrated here on the sidelines. He came over and put both hands up on this sideline shade and leaned in just in disappointment. He's had teammates come over. He's had coaches come over. Ty Simpson came and talked to him. Coach DeBoer came and talked to him. Definitely disappointed with that kick.
Kalen DeBoer told us yesterday, as you see him over there during the first and second quarter talking to Talty, he goes, he was money all week.
Yeah, and back to your original point, this is 100% a mental thing for a chip shot field goal. Now, the challenge for Talty is, and all the great athletes do this, you flush something bad out of your head and you go get the next one. I think they got to do whatever they can today to make sure they get him some more field goal opportunities so he can flush that thing out.
Here's what's incredible. Alabama up 2 touchdowns. The defense has been outstanding. And all anybody is going to want to talk about is Connor Talty at that 28-yard missed field goal. A great insight from Torrey to show that he's still got his teammates and his coaches' support. And that's one thing that Kalen DeBoer made absolutely clear. You know, they are not thinking about going away from him. Ty Simpson in the offense out on the field. 2nd and 3 here. Jam Miller now on the right hip of Simpson. Miller running left. Gets a couple of blocks. Has the first down and more into Eastern Illinois territory. It's a gain of 12 for Miller to pick up the first down.
This run game is really starting to get going here a bit, as they certainly needed to finish this thing out right. You're making some guys miss. Last year the run game was really carried by Jalen Milroe. He had 56 rush yards per game. Now that factor isn't there, so it's up to these running backs.
A good point, Rocky. A big reason why that run production is down is you don't get anything from Simpson, whereas you had a huge threat in the run game with Milroe a year ago.
And Milroe, 726 rush yards last year. There's certainly some more opportunities for Jam Miller. He's no longer blocking for Jalen Milroe, but he's got to produce, as certainly does the rest of those backs.
Still a lot of football left to this season, even though the final game of the regular season next week for Alabama at the Iron Bowl, but still alive to play for an SEC championship. Still in the mix for the college football playoff. The committee has them at 10, so very much in the field. 2nd and 9, Simpson dumps it off to Kevin Riley. He tumbles forward right at the line to gain for the first down. And Ryan Grubb told us, look, when you get into postseason football, kind of like a postseason pitcher for baseball, you got to find your 3 best pitches. What's your slider? What's your fastball? What's your changeup? And the run game needs to be one of those.
It does. I think overall, Jay, I mean, you look at this Alabama offense, they do a lot of stuff, right? Lots of formation, lots of schemes, lots of motions, shifts, and you wonder, is there a saturation point where it gets to be too much? They need to find out here in the next 2 weeks what they do best and lean on that.
Eastern Illinois. It's their first timeout.
Timeout. Eastern Illinois will step aside as well. Alabama a 2-touchdown lead. Ty Simpson and the Crimson Tide offense looking for more in Panthers territory when we come back.
Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. I've been standing down here on the sidelines watching the specialists after that missed kick, and Connor Talty has not taken any practice kicks down here, but Peter Notaro has. To be determined who's going to take the next kick, but when the specialists are talking amongst themselves, it's Peter Notaro talking with the starters.
Very interesting. And also, David Bird was the long snapper against Oklahoma for the high snap. It was Alex Rozier, new long snapper for Alabama, who did a perfect snap on the Talty miss. So we might get a field goal here if Alabama can't punch it in. Back in Panthers territory, feel like they've lived on Eastern Illinois' side of the field in this first half. Gain of 4 there from A.K. Deer.
Again, the key to this run game is getting movement of guys off that line of scrimmage, moving those defenders. That's the vintage Bama run game that I know these fans certainly want to see more of.
And Michael Carroll, the true freshman from IMG Academy, who's moved into right tackle as Wilkin Formby has gone to right guard. Brody Dalton, the catch, the big tight end. That's his first grab of the season. It was a reshuffled offensive line with the starting center, Parker Brailsford, out, and done a good job in this first half. Very reliable left side of the line with Proctor and Dewberry intact. 1st and 10. Play action. Simpson throws off his back foot. Great catch. Kevin Riley went low to grab that one. Takes it all the way to the 2-yard line. Gain of 23.
That was great anticipation by Ty Simpson. And also, you see an open guy, you get the ball out of your hand. Don't pass up open guys. Ball a little bit behind him. Still a good job by Simpson getting the thing out. And you mentioned this offensive line. Gino Vandermark at center. He's certainly a bigger body than Brailsford was.
Riley, who just made the great catch, stays into the backfield. Gets the carry. Bulldozes his way into the end zone for another Alabama touchdown.
Let's see what kicker comes out. Looks like it's going to be Connor Talty. There's some boos, Jay, as he walks out on the field. This has got to be treated as a confidence booster for Connor Talty right here. He's smiling. He hears them.
Well, he's perfect on the season on extra points, 37 for 37. Puts it right through, and a big cheer from the Alabama faithful.
Most celebrated point after attempt in a long time around here.
Now the Crimson Tide,
good for him,
looking for a response after that 8-game losing streak was snapped last week. They've got a 3-touchdown lead. Connor Talty, the most talked about kicker in college football. But the Crimson Tide rolling at home, up 21-0.
College football playoff selection show. The bracket will be filled. Judgment Day is here.
College football selection show be here before we know it. Who will be the 12 to compete in the college football playoff? Alabama right now seeded as the number 10 team in the 12-team playoff. The committee dropping them from 4 to 10 after the loss to Oklahoma. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. Tori Petrie down on the sideline. SEC's definitely getting in 5 teams. It's just who will be the 5, and Alabama still very much in the mix. You just got to beat Auburn and you're in.
Got to beat Auburn next week. And yeah, some other things need to happen for them to get in the SEC championship game, but they don't need that game necessarily.
And even if they were to make the SEC championship game and lose, I think the committee showed last year that they're not going to penalize a team for losing in their conference championship. SMU lost to Clemson in the ACC championship last year and still made the field of 12.
But back to that, I mean, there's no scenario, right, that a 3-loss SEC team gets in. I don't know if I see that going.
Oh, well, Alabama's a scenario that if they pick up the 3rd loss in the SEC championship.
In that game, yes.
I agree.
I'm saying if they lose the Iron Bowl next week,
they're done.
No.
Yep. I think it's as simple as that. You can look at all the analytics, or you just have to win. You go to Auburn and win, you will be in.
Winning solves the whole thing.
And that's why good completion there, right on the money to Landers Green for an Eastern Illinois first down. That's why, obviously, you're disappointed to lose to Oklahoma, but because you had that awesome 8-game win streak with 4 ranked wins, your resume is good to go.
And that's the reason for playing good teams, you know, and wanting to play against top competition, because you don't get dinged as much. Those are some fantastic wins that tied it early in the year.
First and 10, they keep it on the ground. Callum, Cincinnati native. We said it right at the end of the first quarter, Rocky, but you're a proud St. Xavier Bomber. They beat Elder, their rival, last night to win the regional championship and move on to the state semifinals. So big night for you and Charles Kellum.
Yeah, I forced you and Tori and all the members of our crew to watch that game on the computer last night. Yeah, Charles Kellum, 1,850 yards as a senior in high school, 29 touchdowns, helped him win that state title in 2020. Now at EIU.
Hey, if there's an area that can appreciate some good high school football on a Friday night, it's here in Alabama. They've got excellent football in this area, certainly in the Birmingham area.
A great job by Ivan Taylor, strong safety. Kalen DeBoer told us we might see some Ivan Taylor here today. Great play.
Third and 7. Alabama has done very well today in getting Eastern Illinois off the field. Only that 1 third down conversion today. They run it with Callum, and Alabama not fooled. Caden Jones, the sophomore, joined by Luke Metz. Mason Miller back out to punt it away for Eastern Illinois. Already been a very busy day for Miller. He might be the brightest spot on this team this season, averaging 47 yards per punt. Line drive. Bounces to Cole Adams, who fields it. Turns upfield. Takes it just past the 20. So Rocky Boyman, you played 4 years for Notre Dame, 8 years in the NFL. We were talking all week. I know you love your Irish. Alabama has such a better resume than them. It's not even close.
Even I got to admit, there's no question about it. You know, the 4 wins over then AP top 25 teams. You know, that win over Georgia, maybe one of the best wins in college football this year. And for the Fighting Irish, best win against USC and Pitt last week, but I don't think it stacks up nearly as good to Alabama's resume.
Alabama has 4 wins that are better than Notre Dame's best win. And the other thing is, I get it, Notre Dame's losses came early in the season. Now they're riding a tidal wave. Everyone goes, as Simpson's picked off. Great play. Caleb Lyons, the redshirt junior. Outstanding play to Reed Simpson and just go up and high point that football, and Eastern Illinois will take over in the red zone. What a play.
There's Caleb Lyons just playing in that hole right there. I think Ty Simpson thought he could get it over him, but Caleb Lyons can jump out of the stadium. What a great shot here. He thought he was going to fit that ball in, did not realize how high Caleb Lyons can jump. What a fantastic play.
Lyons at only 5'11", just skied for that ball. And
looks like he has about a 40-inch vert, though.
Well, Simpson, who has been so good this season in terms of accuracy, is now throwing back-to-back interceptions, 7th straight game, committing a turnover. That costly pick 6 against Oklahoma last week.
Yeah, it's had the fumbles.
It was the fumbles for the while, but now back-to-back with interceptions. And Simpson won't like that at all.
Well, and it comes down to what it always comes down to, right? Turnovers. We talked about it. When this team or any team doesn't turn the ball over, you get takeaways on defense, you win a lot more football games.
Thank you.
Those 3 turnovers they had last week led to 17 Oklahoma points.
Well, the first 9 games of this season, Alabama was +10 in the turnover margin. Last week, -3. And the Crimson Tide defense has responded.
Bray Hubbard, great job coming off that offense's right side. And they just brought more blockers than EIU had. And that's a situation, that quarterback has just got to see that, get the ball out of his hand, but Hubbard was too quick.
What a response by Hubbard and this Crimson Tide defense. They get the interception, taken into the red zone, now backed up to the 29-yard line for a 3rd and 28. Wolf just dumps it down to Kellum. Actually lost 2 on the play. And you're in no man's land right now, Rocky. Probably too long for a field goal attempt, but you're 4th and 30. What do you got in the playbook for that against an Alabama defense?
That's been tough because this has been the Achilles heel of EIU all year. They just have not situationally been good, find themselves too often behind the sticks. They're good on 1st down, but then they just can't, again, convert the plays you need to get the 3rd downs. Especially in the red zone. You see Chris Wilkerson highly upset. He thought he had something going. He got the big pick.
Wolf rockets it, and it's dropped. C.J. Nelson could not hang on. It was Bray Hubbard again. He's the star of this drive for Alabama defensively.
Yeah, Bray Hubbard has had many plays here today for that Crimson Tide defense. He had the big sack, and then on 4th down, good job reading the quarterback and laying a big stick on the EIU receiver. 21-0 Alabama.
SEC Network, SEC Football Final with Darian Company. He'll take you through all the games from today. Also available on the ESPN app. Here at Tuscaloosa, Alabama a 3-touchdown lead. Ty Simpson trying to shake off the interception he threw on the previous possession. Keep it on the ground with Jam Miller. Finds a hole. Breaks a couple of tackles. Jam Miller takes it all the way. The Eastern Illinois territory, gain of 24.
Outside zone run, Jay. That offensive line's tied to a string. They're all reaching to their left. And it's up to Jam Miller to find the hole, and he sneaks it right there inside Cam Dewberry. And the speed down the sideline. That's a confidence-boosting run right there.
How good is that left side of the line with Proctor and Dewberry clearing space for you?
And Alabama snaps with those guys.
In business again. Feels like they have lived on Eastern Illinois' side of the field today. Back to Miller, wrestled down. Yeah, Alabama has run 24 of their 28 plays of this first half in Panthers territory.
That's how you want it every time if you can. You know, Ryan Grubb certainly appreciates that. Again, lots of work. The key right now here today, Jay, is I think finding the things you do best. And then as the season goes on here to the final game and beyond, you lean in on those things that you do very, very well and get rid of some of the things maybe you don't do well.
Simpson on a quarterback keeper. You rarely see this, and he takes it for a Crimson Tide first down. A gain of 13 for Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson has just 78 rush yards on the season. Here he goes for 13. You know, where I caught the defense off guard a little bit. But a good read, good decision by Simpson. If they're not going to have anybody hold that backside, just take off.
First and 10, 3 minutes left in this first half. Simpson finds a true freshman tight end, Marshall Pritchett.
Yeah, they think Marshall Pritchett is another great tight end for the future here. This program, I mean, look at the body, 6'5", 248, true freshman.
And he could have a vital role to play down the stretch with starting tight end Josh Cuevas out of the game today.
Yeah, it's very important to get Pritchett and some of these other tight ends some work in case Cuevas' injury lingers for a bit.
Yeah, they're expecting to get Jeremy Bernard and Parker Brailsford back for Auburn. Cuevas still questionable. Fake the reverse. Miller kept it. Eastern Illinois not fooled. And that'll set up 3rd and short as we go to the 2-minute timeout. Alabama, a comfortable 3-touchdown lead, but looking for more ahead of halftime. Ty Simpson and the starters still out there. 21-0 lead. Alabama, a 3-touchdown lead, driving with the ball, 3rd and 2 upcoming. If they don't get this, Rocky, a field goal attempt likely. And everyone's talking about this kicker controversy after Connor Talty missed last week against Oklahoma and missed again from 28 yards out today.
Yeah, I mean, this is the center of the universe right now for Crimson Tide football. They could win this game 147-0. And if this is all people are going to talk about is the kicking situation right now.
Well, the simple solve for that if you're Kalen DeBoer in Alabama is pick up this 3rd down. Miller does just that. Needed to, got to, falling forward into the red zone with a fresh set of downs.
In my head right there, I think about, do you just, not get the first down to force yourself to get the kicker back out there and give him another opportunity, clear his head? Again, this game is likely in hand, right? This is all about next week and beyond.
The one thing that true freshman Peter Notaro has done, Torrey mentioned it earlier in the second quarter, is he has kicked constantly.
Caden Proctor out there on the wing. Here we go.
They give it to Proctor. Here's the big boy. Bounced out of bounds. 6'7", 366. Tough to bring down. The only way to stop him is bounce him out of bounds.
This is the second time I believe we've seen this. Look at this. What do you do if you're a cornerback out there? Big Caden Proctor. And I bet like in youth football or even high school, he was like the running back and he was about that size then, but he was such a great athlete that he got to carry the ball.
Yeah,
I mean look at that human being.
Famously did it against Georgia, that huge road win in Athens. You want to keep putting that on tape, right? Make Auburn practice that this week.
Waste valuable practice time working on Caden Proctor at slot receiver.
Well, what's funny is I didn't see Simpson originally under center, so I didn't know if they were going to wildcat to him. I could understand that if it was 4th and 1 or you're on the goal line, but at the 20, not exactly Proctor's area of expertise. Lombardi Award semifinalist.
And you know they got, look, Ryan Grubb has a ton of plays. You know they have a play in their offense where he gets that thing on the goal line.
There's Ryan Grubb down on the field instead of the booth for the first time this season for Alabama.
Enjoyed talking with him yesterday. He's a smart coach.
He told us he believes they have 3 NFL quarterbacks in the quarterback room. It's been all Simpson in the first half, but hoping to see Mack and Russell in the second. Here's Kevin Riley, tiptoes the sidelines, plows in. There's a flag down. And this run is likely coming back.
Looks like there might have been a hold out there on the edge.
Holding on the offense, number 11. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. We play second down.
That's Rico Scott, the redshirt freshman wide receiver, called for the hold.
And I thought it was a hit in the back, not necessarily a hold. Let's see right there. Yeah.
Both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, yeah. There's a good shot of it right there by our camera crew. Good
and
job.
Riley did step out about the 5-yard line as well. So Simpson and the Crimson Tide offense backed up about the 28-yard line. Minute 18 to go in this first half. A 3-touchdown lead and 3 timeouts. Second and 18 after the hold. Simpson throws. It's caught. Down at the 2-yard line. Simpson put it right on the money.
That was a good read there. He brought the corner blitz off the edge. Simpson put it right on the spot.
And Bakwe, the sophomore wide receiver, makes a catch, sets up 1st and goal. Right up the middle, untouched, Kevin Riley. Alabama goes 69 yards in 9 plays. And here comes the freshman, Peter Notaro. No Connor Talty on this extra point attempt as the kicker controversy in Tuscaloosa continues to grow.
Let's see what the crowd response is here.
Notaro has been practicing. He must have practiced 400 kicks in this second quarter. And he puts it through.
Much to the delight of the Alabama student section.
What was the line you said? They could win 147 to nothing, and they're still going to be talking about kickers here all week in Tuscaloosa. Thought Mbakwe making the catch there.
And walking the tightrope. Good job. Nice corner route. Good throw. And Riley finished it off.
So 4 touchdowns in this first half for the Crimson Tide, and all of them have come on the ground. Clear point of emphasis. Get this run game going. 117 rushing yards, but most importantly, 4 rushing touchdowns for Kalen DeBoer's team. And that is a season high for Alabama in a half. Wednesday on the SEC Network, it is overlap season, so we got some basketball for you. Tennessee Tech at Kentucky. Wednesday, 7 p.m. tip-off time on SEC Network. You know, everyone, like we're talking about how Alabama fans are going to talk about the kicking controversy all week. Everyone's trying to figure out what's wrong with Kentucky basketball. They lost to Louisville. They got blown out by Michigan State. Got an expensive roster, and they're losing big games early in their season.
They do. You and I got to see them in action on the hardwood last week.
Yep, we were at Rupp Arena before
Eastern Illinois.
Oh, yeah, they were playing Eastern Illinois, the Panthers, yeah. Eastern Illinois out of the OVC, and wanted to mention that the OVC title game's going on right now, and UT Martin,
Alabama.
Their head coach is Ty Simpson's dad, Jason Simpson. He's been at UT Martin for 20 seasons. If they win today, that'll be 5 OVC championships in a row for Jason Simpson and UT Martin, and they're taking on Tennessee Tech. Got to give the OVC some love. There's Jason Simpson. And when you're raised by a football coach, and then get to come to Tuscaloosa and play for the Crimson Tide, the football family. That's special.
Yeah, it's special, but I mean, in a way, with having a dad as a coach, he's been preparing to be the quarterback here at Alabama for a long, long time, and all those reps and all the good coaching he got from dad all that time certainly has helped out.
286 miles from home. Alabama's defense continues to deliver. Fleming knocked back for a loss in the backfield. Justin Hill, another true freshman, making a play.
Timeout.
Cincinnati native.
That's right, the Winton Woods High School in Cincinnati.
To be a 30-second.
And Hill's one of those guys, he gets about 20, 25 snaps a game, but he usually makes some big plays, like you saw right there.
Thank you.
Really like watching him. And it's just a good job of reading, and then sometimes, I mean, just good leverage at the point of attack, driving back the tight end, Alex Ginever. I mean, that's what linebacker comes down to. You got to be able to put heavy hands on someone, drive them back, throw them off, and make a tackle.
And by the way, that OVC championship game, it's headed to the fourth quarter, tied at 10.
Wow.
So while we're at halftime, maybe Flint's on the ESPN app. Flip over and check out Jason Simpson trying to gut it out of the fourth quarter. 3rd and 10 here. Alabama has prevented a first down the last 5 tries on 3rd down. They get a stop again. Just swarming to the football. Alabama uses their final timeout, so we'll get the ball back with about 45 seconds.
Timeout, Alabama. Your final charge, timeout.
That is the fun thing in a game like this, Rocky, is, you know, Kalen DeBoer lets a couple freshmen play, the 2s. It's certainly, as we get into the second half, maybe the 3s, and this might be their only opportunity all season at Bryant-Denny Stadium to make a play, and they're flying around just as fast as the 1s.
Yeah, certainly, and this, assuming Ty Simpson comes out at quarterback, which is an assumption right now, likely will be his last drive. I know they want to see some of those other young quarterbacks get some action today. So an opportunity for Ty Simpson, maybe one last drive.
Mason Miller has already had 1 punt block today. High snap, gets it away cleanly. Cole Adams backpedals, fields it at the 21, brings it across the 30. And now with no timeouts, 45 seconds to work for this Alabama offense. And Ty Simpson has been pretty good today, bar the 1 interception.
He has the 1 interception, but outside of that, 10 to 13, 122 yards. He's done a good job, made good decisions, and that's the thing with Simpson. Sometimes trying to play hero ball, and you know, you got to check the ball down and take what the defense gives you. I thought he did that well at times here today.
Good protection Simpson has all day, but throws it into a dangerous area. Nearly intercepted, knocked down by Jawan Nixon, the Tuscaloosa native.
And as soon as I say it, then there's not. Look, there's 3 white jerseys right there. You know, if that thing isn't there, throw that thing out of bounds, hit the sideline rather than throw a ball over the middle that can get tipped up in the air and get intercepted.
Simpson flushed, takes off and runs, trying to get out of bounds, doesn't get there. So this clock will run. Simpson took a big hit from Isaiah Hui.
That's a hit you don't want your quarterback taking in a game like this.
15 seconds has run off this second quarter clock. Timeout taken by Eastern Illinois just as Alabama was about to snap the football.
Final charge timeout of the half. Should be a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, and Simpson, I like the decision here. The pocket collapsed, he stepped up in it and then took off, but right there, I think you got to do a better job protecting yourself. I know he's trying to get out of bounds to stop that clock. Isaiah Hui with a nice hit.
And Rocky, the one thing talking to you this week that you thought Simpson's biggest area to improve on was sometimes he just has to give up on a play. And we asked his offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, about that. He said, look, he's just the ultimate competitor. It's not in his nature to just throw it away or give up on a play, but sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to. And I think of all the things a quarterback must do and understand, I think that's the hardest to balance, because you're a quarterback. You are there to make plays and sometimes make things happen when they're not there. But that little few times when the better decision is just to give up on the play, finding that balance is what makes the great ones great.
No timeouts at a 3rd and 6. Simpson, pressure comes again. Flushed out, sets his feet, throws, it's caught, a broken tackle. Clock down to 1, it will stop to move the chains, although it goes down to 0. And there's an injured Eastern Illinois player in the backfield. Ryan Williams made the catch for a gain of 25. The first half clock is at 0s.
And there was 2 seconds, but you need 3 seconds to be able to get a snap off. Now there's an injured Eastern Illinois player back to the 35.
Timer. Please put 1 second back on the game clock. Due to the defensive injury under 10 seconds, though there was a first down, this applies for a 10-second runoff. Alabama will decline the 10-second runoff. The game clock will go on the snap.
Kifa Perara, the injured player for Eastern Illinois, walking off. If you didn't hear it, the official announced while Pafara was getting attended to that there is 1 second on the clock, and Alabama will have one final play. The Hail Mary coming here from the Eastern Illinois 38-yard line.
And Isaiah Horton down here at the bottom of the screen there, 6'4".
Eastern Illinois only sends 3. Simpson rolls right, throws to the end zone, jump ball, and it's intercepted. Eastern Illinois has it. Dylan Conway, the redshirt freshman, read it well. So Simpson's second interception in this first half, albeit a jump ball heading into halftime with a 4-touchdown lead. Coming up at halftime, if you love college marching bands, check out Alabama's $1 Million Band at halftime on the SEC Network Plus channel. Let's check in with Kalen DeBoer down on the field with Tori Petra.
Coach, you used both of your kickers here in the first half. How do you plan on using them in the second?
Yeah, when we get a field goal opportunity, we'll put Talty out there. We're just trying to get some other guys some opportunities out there too. So we'll get him back out, trying to rotate your last home game.
Thank you, Coach.
You bet. Yep.
All right, so you heard it there. Connor Talty, he'll be your kicker in the second half. Alabama, if they need him, a 4-touchdown lead, all 4 touchdowns on the ground, and the Crimson Tide up big, 28-0 at the break. Back in Tuscaloosa, Alabama commanding 4-touchdown lead, 28-0 at the break against Eastern Illinois. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. Alabama trying to bounce back after that 8-game losing streak was snapped last week against Oklahoma. And I think, Rocky, regardless of opponent, you had a checklist of what you wanted to see Alabama do today coming into the game. But where are we at here at halftime?
Yeah, there were 3 things I thought needed to get fixed and get cleaned up a little bit coming into this game. The first one is the run game. A little bit more consistency. I thought they did that. Some great blocking, lots of heavy zone run action. I thought the running backs, Jam Miller especially, did a great job in that rush game with 121 rush yards. But then special teams, you get the good play with a blocked punt, but something that's going to be talked about a lot here in Tuscaloosa, the missed field goal by Connor Talty, but the defense, Jay, has been consistent all game, flying around. Lots of havoc plays, 3 sacks, an interception. Forced fumble. That unit has been fantastic all day today.
Eastern Illinois only 12 total yards in the first half, -1 rushing yard. Last time Alabama held an opponent to negative rush yards and a half, 2021 against Auburn. McCain Womack has to be happy with how his Crimson Tide defense played in that first half. And as we start the second half, Alabama will start with the football. Cole Adams takes it back just near the 40. Alabama rushing yards 121, most yards in the first half this season. And one thing that really helped the Crimson Tide, field position. 31 of their 38 plays in the first half ran in EIU territory.
And a lot of times field position comes down to special teams for that starting position. And here we go, Jay. New starting quarterback, Austin Mack. And how about this for measurables? 6'6", 235 for the redshirt sophomore. They are very excited about him.
And this is what we expected to see with Alabama leading by 4 touchdowns. Good opportunity to empty your bench. See the second string as Austin Mack takes it for a gain of 7. This is his 3rd year with Kalen DeBoer. Recruited him to Washington, just 17 years old when he enrolled. 19 years old now, 3rd year in the system. So young but experienced when it comes to Kalen DeBoer's offense.
And a freak athlete that DeBoer even talked about, you know, the throws have to consistently be on time. That's something he's got to do here right now.
Right on the money there. Checked it right down to Kevin Riley for an Alabama first down. Let's check in with Tori.
Jay, one of the big compliments this coaching staff had of Mack this week was that he has great presence and command in this huddle, and they are completely comfortable with him out there. One of his teammates told me that his car is always one of the first at the facility. The message to him today was, you don't need to be a hero. Everyone in this building knows how good you are, so just play a clean game.
And yeah, Tori, look, already there's some good command in this offense, checking them around, getting them lined up.
And right back in the Panthers territory where they lived in the first half. Kevin Riley takes that carry for a gain of 7. And Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, told us he believes he has 3 NFL quarterbacks in the quarterback room. What a luxury that is.
What a luxury, yes. It's great to be Ryan Grubb.
Ty Simpson, his day is done with a 28-0 lead. Did throw the 2 interceptions in that first half. And now it's Austin Mack's turn as Alabama empties the bench here. Up 4 scores in the 3rd. Mack right on target again, finds the big tight end, Brody Dalton. He's got huge size too at 6'5", 255.
He's a good job. It's a low snap, but he fields it seamlessly, pops it back up, and then boom, there's the receiver, ball's out. It's the kind of things you want to see.
And interesting that Wilkin Formby, who had been playing right guard in the first half, is bumped back out to his natural position at right tackle. They run it right behind him for a big gain into the red zone. A.K. Deer, he's gotten a bunch of carries today.
Yeah, this is a guy that Ryan Grubb seemed to be very excited about. A.K. Deer, the vision. You know, just has a good knack of seeing where the hole is, how it opens up, where to cut back to. Really wanted to get him some action today. Thought that he may help this running game as the season progresses.
He's only had 7 touches on the season, 5 already today. Play action. Mack, quick hitter, finds Cole Adams. How about the burst from Adams to take it inside the 10 to set up 1st and goal at the 5.
And great job, Derek Meadows earlier, the wide receiver, got the holding penalty, but this is just a great block there. I think right before he's getting ready to commit a penalty, he smartly just kind of lets up, hands in the air, but good job on the perimeter, create some more room.
Well, this offense looks well-oiled with Austin Mack and a lot of second stringers out there for the Crimson Tide.
Wildcat.
And it's A.K. Deer, the highly touted freshman. Direct snap. A.K. Deer trying to push his way in. Stopped at the 2-yard line.
I'll tell you one thing, if you play Alabama, in the week of practice leading up to it, you are going to have to go through a lot of things that this offense does. And I think that's part of it.
An injured Eastern Illinois defensive lineman. Can't quite see who that is down for Eastern Illinois. 2nd and goal when we come back.
Well, Alabama opened up the second half with the backup quarterback Austin Mack. And I thought he's looked really good, Jay. Made great decisions. And then the thing with him is, the word I would use is smooth. Right? That ball just kind of smoothly just shoots right out of his hand. The accuracy, putting the ball right on the money. And these have all been short throws, of course. Again, for a guy without a lot of playing time, I thought he's looked pretty good.
He has Alabama's 2nd and goal here. Hands it off right up the middle, pushing that pile. A.K. Deer finds the end zone, breaks the plane. And that's his first touchdown in an Alabama uniform. True freshman, Mississippi kid, getting an opportunity against Eastern Illinois. And on the previous play, Cole Silzer, the nose tackle, went down for Eastern Illinois. He was out on that play, and Deer cashes in against a Panthers defense that has been banged up all season long. They have 25 players out for the season coming into today. And the injuries have continued to pile up. All 5 touchdowns today for Alabama have come from the ground. And it is Connor Talty out for the extra point. We saw Peter Notaro, the freshman, take the last one for Alabama. And DeVore told our sideline reporter, Tori Petrie, heading into halftime that was kind of a scheduled thing, trying to rotate some backups through. And just like we saw Austin Mack take over at quarterback. So that was a scheduled extra point for Notaro. And Talty comes in and drills it with a smirk. Alabama, 35-0 lead.
A.K. Deer gets his first touchdown. Not much to it, some good surge there, but then there's a penetrating defensive lineman on there, and he just does a good job of just doing what you have to do sometimes, Jay. You got to lower your shoulder and just drive those legs, and just enough across the end zone line. I'm very excited about the freshman, A.K. Deer.
6 touches today, 4 carries, 2 catches, and coming into the game, he had not been seen since September 13th. He's only had 7 touches on the season, now going out for special teams too. But if they could develop, even this late in the season, another threat out of the backfield that could serve them well in the Iron Bowl or SEC championship, potentially college football playoff, that would be a welcome addition for Alabama. Talked a lot about the Alabama offense today, 35-0 lead, but Kane Womack has to be happy with his Crimson Tide defense. And his defensive coordinator days actually began at Eastern Illinois as a 26-year-old. He said, I had a 1-day-old baby, got the call as a GA on his dad's staff, Dave, at Ole Miss, and said, hey, you want to be the defensive coordinator for the Panthers? So he picked up his young family, and the rest is history.
What do you say? He lived about 100 yards away from the field house there, so right close, getting to practice. But no, I think this unit has been great, and I think that's the thing to think about if you're Ty Simpson. We discussed, you know, sometimes giving up on a play. You got a great defense. You can really lean on that if you're Ty Simpson.
Yeah, one of the best defenses in all of college football statistically, and they've got depth too. The twos are in, making big plays. Noah Carter blown up in the backfield, a loss of 4.
guys, Kane Womack told us that he took away one very important lesson from his time at Eastern Illinois. He said he will never call another game from upstairs again. He was way more anxious watching from up above. He said his feet were like a duck on water.
Yeah, he's a guy, Tori, that has got to be down on the sideline. He's, gives that energy to that unit, feeds off of their energy. Yeah, he's not going back up in the booth anytime soon.
His defense has only allowed 8 total yards as Eastern Illinois does get positive yardage here. Wolf checked it down to Callum, gain of 2. Now, the only thing that disappointed Womack last week was the lack of turnovers. He said, we have been one of the best teams in the country, not just this season, last season, in forcing turnovers. And to lose that turnover margin by 3 to Oklahoma a week ago didn't sit well with him.
And you're almost a victim of your own success. When you keep getting all those takeaways, then you don't get them. It's very glaring. And the other thing he talked about that he had to work on a little bit better was getting their tackling better. I think they've done that today so far.
3rd and 12. Wolf throws, and it's dropped. And Eastern Illinois will be forced to punt it away again. And a lone defensive touchdown that Womack's crew gave up a year ago. As you see the energy you were talking about, Rocky, was 3 missed tackles to Oklahoma that led to the lone defensive touchdown. Getting a big response. And I agree with the point you made a moment ago. The offense should know that. Look, hey, we got one of the best defenses in college football that we can lean on as you get to the Iron Bowl and postseason play.
Yeah, what a luxury to have a unit like this. You're not forced to constantly have to make a play and put a ball in harm's way.
A punt that goes 55 yards. It'll likely be Austin Mack up 35-0 when we come back. We've been doing Random Fandom the last 2 seasons, highlighting fan stories that make college football special. Today in Tuscaloosa, home to some of the best fans in all of college football, we're doing something different. 2 hours before kickoff, we are truly going to find some Random Fandom. Let's do it. All right, so away we went just outside Bryant-Denny Stadium. We figured we'd have a good chance to find someone at the Walk of Champions, and we saw a little kid with a sign in his hands, "My First Bama Game." Well, meet Grant Amison, and he's on his shoulders of his dad, Sean. Now, they live in Auburn, but Sean comes from a Bama family. He's raising them right. In fact, he offered Grant's first ever Bama game to be next week's Iron Bowl, but Grant refused, and he said, "Dad, my first Bama game should be at Bryant-Denny Stadium." That is what college football fandom is all about.
And how fortunate that amongst all those people we found that and saw the sign, and what a magical experience for that kid. He will never forget his 8th birthday.
Happy birthday, Grant. And Sean, you're raising them right. They've had plenty to watch. A 35-0 lead and a new quarterback. 3rd quarterback that has come in, the true freshman Keelan Russell. So only 1 drive for Austin Mack, albeit a touchdown drive.
And they love Keelan Russell. Talk about elite traits, the vision, and Ryan Grubb discussed how he sees the field so well for a freshman. I mean, those are the kind of things you can really build on. That sometimes you either got it or you don't, the way he sees the field.
Ryan Grubb told us about the Duncanville High School product out of Texas. He reminds him a lot of Michael Penix, who they coached to a national championship game at Washington. Russell steps up, delivers. And Bakwe makes his 2nd grab of the afternoon.
And that ball just absolutely jumps out of Russell's hand. And that had some mustard on it too. Great catch there by Mbakwe, the wide receiver.
And Russell, the #1 dual threat quarterback in the ESPN 300 2025 class. So big expectations, and it can be tough when you come in and you're behind Ty Simpson and Austin Mack, but a good opportunity for Russell here against Eastern Illinois and a 5-touchdown lead for Alabama.
Now the thing we got to talk about though is it's these days it's hard keep 3 elite level quarterbacks on your roster, right? Guys go here, they go there. So, you know, I think sometimes coaches are de-incentivized to get guys to work because if they got somebody they like, but they don't want to get out there and have success, and then he hits the transfer portal. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But I like the thought process here. Let's get our guys out there. Let's get them some work and see what they can do.
Yeah, Grubb told us he believes there are 3 future NFL quarterbacks in that quarterback room: Simpson, Mack, and now Russell. And to your point, Rocky, you never see that now, because if a quarterback knows I've got NFL potential and I'm not the starter, I'm gone. I'm hitting the portal. I'm getting NIL.
To their credit, though, why not stay at a place with a guy like Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, where you're going to learn so much about how to play that position? It's a smart decision by those two early on here.
And DeBoer told us, look, you're going to see a lot of Keelan Russell, and he was right, getting into this game early, still midway through this third quarter, only 1 drive for Austin Mack. Russell throwing on the run, delivers it to Marshall Pritchett.
Has good pocket awareness there. The eyes stay downfield even though there's some pressure. Let's take a look at this. Scanning around, going through the progressions. Eyes stay downfield, step up, deliver the ball.
Tylan Foster is down for Eastern Illinois. And as Foster receives medical treatment, we'll step aside. Alabama up 35-0 midway through the third. Now, we just showed you our random fandom, the 8-year-old Grant Amison, and there's his reaction and the arm squeeze to his dad, Sean. They live in Auburn, but Sean's raising him right as an Alabama fan and offered to take Grant to the Iron Bowl next week for his first ever Alabama game. And he said, no, my first Bama game needs to be in Tuscaloosa. So here they are, and they're enjoying a 35-0 lead for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, first game got to be at Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Third string quarterback Keelan Russell into the game for the Tide. Austin Mack only got 1 series of this third quarter after Ty Simpson played the entire first half. Play action. Russell right on the money to the tight end Caleb Edwards. Freshman to freshman, the future is bright.
You can see why Ryan Grubb and DeBoer are so excited. I mean, here's Russell coming in the game. Surveys the field. There he is. Ball's uncorked, right on the money. I mean, the accuracy by all 3 of these guys, very impressive.
And with Josh Cuevas, the lead tight end, out of this game with an injury, did not play. Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett, the 2 true freshmen, getting some extended burn in what could be a very vital tight end room the rest of the way.
And one of the key attributes of Keelan Russell is his athletic ability, the way he can run. We'll see if that happens here now around the 10-yard line.
First and goal. Russell has come in and made it look easy. Number 1 dual threat quarterback in the 2025 class out of Duncanville High School, a powerhouse in Texas. Hands it off, Trey Washington. No room to run there.
If I'm Ryan Grubb right here, I'm rolling Keelan Russell out here. Let him survey the field, give him a 2-way go, use that athletic ability if it's not there. I think this is an area of the field where he can really thrive.
Motions Washington into the backfield. Hands it off, up the middle, inside the 5, and that'll set up 3rd and goal. And when your head coach and your offensive coordinator compare you to a guy they coached who went in the first round of the NFL draft and Michael Penix and played for a national championship, pretty good company. Let's see what Russell can do on a 3rd and goal. Hands it off again, and flag comes in. Alton Jefferson made the stop.
Holding on the offense, number 77.
Now, wouldn't you decline this penalty if you're Eastern Illinois to bring up 4th down, or would you rather back them up even though Alabama gets 2 cracks at it?
I think either way they're going to go for it here. But I understand on those 2 plays, if you're Kalen DeBoer, his last 2 plays.
Holding on the offense, number 77. That penalty is declined.
Yep.
4th down.
Penalty is declined. You were saying, Rocky?
Yeah, I mean, we know we can run the ball up the middle in a 35-0 game. Let me see what my quarterback can do. Let me roll him out. Let me give him that 2-way go and let him work on his game. I just think you use these opportunities to see what your quarterback here can do and what he can't do. Get him some experience.
Well, he has an empty set here on a 4th and goal. Now brings Washington to his left hip. Back to throw. Rockets it. Deflected. It falls incomplete. Turnover on downs. Good stop by the Eastern Illinois defense. Russell can't cash in.
And here's one I think that Russell missed. He has the running back out to the left there, completely wide open. Look, there's nobody home. He dumped that ball off and let him make the guy miss. And kind of forced one right there in the middle of about 3 white jerseys. But again, that's why you do this. That's why you put Keelan Russell in. He'll learn from that.
Did a nice job by the Eastern Illinois defense, down 5 touchdowns to play with a ton of pride there and get the turnover on downs. And one thing that we haven't mentioned yet is this is the Panthers' final game of the season. You know, the FCS playoffs begin next week. The selection show is tomorrow, so Eastern Illinois' season is over, whereas Alabama moves on to the Iron Bowl and the FBS level as 1 week remaining in the regular season. You were saying, Rocky, they will never forget the day they came to Tuscaloosa and got to play on Nick Saban Field.
Yeah, no matter when their football careers end, some will be able to tell their family, tell their kids. You know what I mean? And remember, look at a guy like Caleb Lyons, you know, cornerback. He jumped out of the stadium earlier and had that interception. And he'll be talking about that forever. Go here and make some plays. Give yourself some memories.
Charles Kellum, who's been the leading rusher not just today, but all season for Eastern Illinois. Nearing 700 yards on the year for them.
Yeah, Kellum 6th in the OVC in rushing coming into this game. We talked about the St. Xavier product out of Cincinnati. Spent a few years at Akron, and this year ended up at EIU.
Third and 3. The Alabama defense has been outstanding on 3rd down today. Just 1 for 8. Needing 3. Blown up in the backfield. Swarming Crimson uniforms. And another 3rd down stop. And it's the 9th Alabama tackle for loss today.
I mean, the movement and penetration is just overwhelming this Eastern Illinois offensive line. I mean, it's tough going. You're talking about a very formidable front.
Look at that total yards. Wow. Alabama over 400, Eastern Illinois only 17. Cole Adams catches it already in Panthers territory. Alabama has lived in Eastern Illinois territory today as we check in down on the field with Tori.
Eastern Illinois is enjoying being here in Tuscaloosa more than their star linebacker, Jawan Nixon. He grew up here in Tuscaloosa, and has always dreamed of playing at Bryant-Denny. He even had Alabama bed sheets growing up. He admitted to me this week that this is emotional, getting to play here. This is like a fulfillment of a dream. He's got 20 tickets for fans in the stands. Some of them had to buy their own. Mom, dad, stepdad, cousins, old coaches. And his mom, Tequila, told me that this is surreal for their family, but at the same time, they always knew what kind of kid he was and that he would achieve his dreams.
Yeah,
that's special.
I think he would enjoy it a little bit more if he didn't have that giant club on his hand. He hurt his thumb in practice a week ago. He's got 5 tackles today, and as you said, Troy, this is something he'll never forget.
You played linebacker with the club for the Tennessee Titans, and there's nothing worse than that, right?
It's the worst. I always say you don't realize how much you use your hands until you can't use one. You know, you're kind of running around out there, even just like spatially, just getting your feeling around out there. It's a weird kind of thing to have to deal with, but he's out there making it happen.
Free play for Austin Mack, taking a deep shot to the end zone, and that's pass interference. Derek Meadows got hammered in the end zone. But how about Kalen DeBoer going back to Mack after he had let Russell take the previous drive?
And it was Isaiah Huey. I thought he had good coverage there for most of that rep, and then right at the end there, committed the interference.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the defense. Offside on the defense, number 91. That penalty has been declined. Pass interference on the defense, number 23. That penalty will be enforced 15 yards from the previous spot. Carries an automatic first down.
What do you think of Alabama going back to Mack after putting Russell in for a drive?
I like it. Let's get both guys in there this whole half, alternate series, and just kind of see what happens. Give them some valuable experience, and what a great camera shot. And again, nice coverage to the end, but again, you don't get the eyes back to the ball, and then the right arm wraps around the backside, and there comes a penalty.
Mack steps up, decides to run. Austin Mack, tough to take down at 6'6". Those long strides, finds the end zone. Touchdown, Austin Mack. Oh, Austin Mack, the backup quarterback, he makes it look easy and effortless. 40-yard throw on the previous play that was called for pass interference, and then a 20-yard run for an Alabama touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, smooth, just how he throws out there. And you mentioned his height and his long legs. It doesn't look like they're moving very fast, but he's just running away from defenders. Great vision there, kicking that thing to the outside. Again, I like this look. He's going through his progressions. 1, 2, not there. I mean, look at just open up then. And he's seeing downfield. He's seeing his wide receivers. There's Derek Meadows making a great block on the outside. And that's what it's all about. I mean, the quarterback position is about making the right decision. You know, when to throw, when to tuck and run. These are all very razor-thin, fine decisions. And the only way you learn in those instances is through experience. And that's why it's so valuable right now for both Mack and Russell to get that experience and learn.
Saturdays in Tuscaloosa, and a 42-0 lead for Alabama, a team that was disappointed to lose at home against a good Oklahoma program. Felt they played a lot better in that game, and that outgained them by nearly 200 yards. Those 3 turnovers so costly to ruin the 8-game winning streak, but they don't fall out of the college football playoff conversation, and still very much in the SEC championship conversation. So talking with the players and the coaches this week, they go, look, all our goals are still very much in front of us, and we get this game against Eastern Illinois to clean up some things. and make sure that we are 100% ready to fire, because now every game here on out is a playoff game.
That's it, and every play is an opportunity to get better and to learn, both for the coaches and the players, and that's why you can never just take a game like this lightly. You want to come out and work on the little things you got to work on to be a great football team. I think they've done a lot of those today.
Fleming, no room to run there. Tried to turn the corner and was denied. Talking SEC championship. You win and get an A&M loss, you're in. You win and get an Ole Miss loss, you're in. And if you win and both A&M win and Ole Miss win and Georgia win, if you get the strength of schedule over the Dogs, which right now Alabama is 4, Georgia is 12. Then Bama's playing. So you got 3 paths there, but it all requires a win against Auburn.
I was going to say, what's the consistent word and all that? Win, right?
Yes.
You win and you control a lot.
Everyone's going to be talking about the field goal kicker and the offense. But I'll tell you what, a lot of this winning by Alabama will be determined by this defense. I think one of the best defenses in all of college football. They've proved it again today. Kane Wommack's team pitching a shutout as we head to the 4th quarter.
Yeah, this defense you mentioned, Jay, I think they play very well together as a unit. Better than maybe some of their parts. They've been great, and that guy's been great too. Austin Mack punched it in for the touchdown. They're tied up big here in Tuscaloosa.
Rocky, we've been talking defense. Kane Wommack's unit, excellent today. 9 tackles for loss, an interception, a forced fumble, and still pitching a shutout as we begin the 4th quarter.
Havoc plays. They've just owned the line of scrimmage today. 3 big sacks, the interception on the 2nd play of the game.
3rd and 2, and another 3rd down stuff. Eastern Illinois converted the first 3rd down that they had, and then Alabama's shut the door 9 consecutive times on 3rd down. Wow.
Yeah, Kane Wommack, you can see him fired up. You can't exude that kind of energy if you're up in the box, right? Duke Johnson, look at this. And I think as a coach, he loves seeing some guys that maybe aren't the normal starters out there making plays, and they've coached them and they work hard every day at practice. They don't get an opportunity and come out today and get one and make plays. Nothing a coach loves more.
So 3 quarterbacks have played for Alabama today. Ty Simpson had the entire first half to himself, and then they've gone back and forth here between Mack and Russell in the 2nd half.
I think both have been fantastic. I mean, making good decisions for the most part. Ball's getting out of the hand, not sitting back there holding it. Yeah. Accuracy. And it looks like we're going to see Keelan Russell here to start this drive. A little competition going on right now between Russell and Mack for who can have the better game.
Russell rolling right. You see his running ability here as he turns the corner. He's got a burst, huh?
Yeah, he's got that 6th gear, man. He just dropped that thing down. Looked like he was going to get forced out of bounds for no gain. And here it is. Russell's going to get his 2nd drive. Yeah, and for Russell, I wonder if he'll run the ball a little bit more here, because that's one of his strong suits.
Hands it off this time to Kevin Riley. Only gained a yard. What a luxury when you're Alabama and you got so much competitive depth. And one thing we hear from coaches all across the country is NIL has really hurt depth, because if I can go be a starter, if I can go make more money someplace else, I'm gone. But Alabama's a place where you continually see they keep not just depth, but quality depth at every position. And you're seeing it all over the field, but at quarterback certainly.
Yeah, and that's just one of the things when you have a storied program like Alabama does, people want to be a part of it. They're going to stay a little bit longer than they would maybe at some other places, and that's certainly to the benefit of Alabama.
And there's Simpson and Mack watching on.
I got to admit, though, Jay, I think it's going to be hard to keep all three of these quarterbacks going into next year, because you just see the talent level. Hopefully for Alabama that happens, but certainly be tough.
A.K. Deer back into the game in the backfield. He's been a bright spot for Bama today. Russell throws. It's caught by Cole Adams.
And I like right there what Russell did. There was a deeper route that was a little more well covered. Instead of trying to force that thing in there, just takes the easier throw. A quarterback's job is to get first downs. I mean, Urban Meyer talks about this all the time. Get first downs. That's the main thing you have to do, what it kind of boils down to.
Deer rumbling forward. He's now had more touches today in this game than he's had in all the 10 games previous combined.
I think they're really they're searching right now as Ryan Grubb for a back, and maybe has a little more home run hitting ability, and just someone, again, they think they've blocked a lot better than people get them credit for, but at some point they need some of these running backs to just flat make some plays.
Russell steps up. Tucks and runs, the speed flying for the first down. Went airborne there. Isaiah Hui was trying to make the tackle.
Again, good job. You got the ability, man. Take off. You gotta watch yourself out there. These boys are still flying around.
Alabama with a season high 220 yards rushing today. Richard Young gets his first carry of the afternoon. Rumbles for a gain of 9. For number 9, the redshirt sophomore from Lehigh Acres, Florida. One of those games where if you're on the roster, chances are you're on the field today. Luxury of having a 42-0 cushion as a flag flies for a false start.
False start on the offense, number 8. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains second down.
And it's important to do that, Jay. You got guys that they work hard every single day in practice and don't see the field much. I think this is a great game to reward those guys. And also give them an opportunity to go out there and see what they can do. Maybe they'll turn some heads.
Just overcooked that one on a seam route.
And ball sailed a little bit on him.
Alabama came into this game with 3 injuries to starters. Top wide receiver Jeremy Bernard, starting center Parker Brailsford, and the tight end Josh Cuevas. So you knew coming in already you got to reshuffle your starters, and that changes your depth chart. And now you've even gone to the 3rd string. But you're right, Rocky. You never know. If somebody makes a big play, it gives you something to think about. Is that a player that we could use going into the Iron Bowl and postseason play? Russell finds Marshall Pritchett. He's one of the players that would fit into that category, right? If Cuevas stays injured here. Pritchett's had 3 catches today. One of the top tight end prospects in the freshman class.
Yeah, speaking of, I mean, this is freshman to freshman, right? Nice job of getting that ball out there to Pritchett. Again, I mean, you got to love how much Alabama is not afraid to play freshmen.
10th play of a long drive. This is where Russell stalled out in the red zone on the previous drive he had.
You got Meadows down here at the bottom, one-on-one coverage. Tall receiver.
They throw it to the opposite right side, right back to Pritchett. He flies forward inside the 10. Back-to-back grabs for the talented tight end.
I'm just loving this situation. You got Meadows out there, 6'5". Just throw a jump ball up to him. See what he can do.
Yeah, they're going to put Meadows down at the bottom of your screen now. And they run it right up the middle. Only a gain of 1.
That was great. Tylan Foster juiced up after that stop.
The linebackers have played well for Eastern Illinois. Foster and Nixon have hardly come off the field today. Joseph Ionata down for Alabama. We'll step aside.
Watch. Sync. Swipe. Personalize. Now available on the ESPN app.
All new ESPN app going to be busy as we get into college football playoff season. Plenty of bowl games over the holidays. Lots of football still left here in the middle of November. Alabama goes back to Richard Young. Picks up the first down.
Nice tackle there by Juwan Nixon, who we talked about, the Tuscaloosa native.
Baker Hickman comes in at center with Joseph Ionata out injured. First and goal. Right back to Young. This time he's in. 13th play of the longest drive of the afternoon for Alabama results in a touchdown.
I mean, very similar to what we've seen for many of these touchdowns today. Just, you know, hat on a hat, body on a body, pushing them back.
Well, this is the second time since 1996 where Alabama has had 7 rushing touchdowns in a single game. The other time was in 2020 against Ole Miss. Reed Schubach in for the extra point, and he puts it right through. So 7 touchdowns all on the ground for Alabama. The Tide up 49-0. All right, Alabama up 49-0 in the fourth quarter. We can look ahead to the Iron Bowl, which is at Auburn. The last 4 meetings at Jordan-Hare, they've all been classics. 2017, Auburn knocks off #1 Bama. Then in 2019, Bo Nix, 48-45. Tigers win at a shootout. Alabama wins a thriller in 4 overtimes in 2021, and then 2023 might be the best of them all. Alabama on that 4th and 31, Isaiah Bond, the hero, to win it 27-24. So that last win for Auburn against Alabama, 2019, that's 2,184 days ago. And the Tigers would love nothing more than to ruin Alabama's season and chances at a SEC championship in a college football playoff, to play spoiler in a year where they've had their head coach fired.
Yeah, and as we've talked about all game here, Jay, lots of scenarios, and Alabama is still alive to get into college football or the SEC championship. There it is, 72% with a win. They lose that game, Jay.
0.
But the common denominator is win, right? If they win, it's going to take care of us. So they're going to be in the college football playoff, which is the goal.
And we just showed you if those last 4 meetings at Auburn are any indication, it is going to be another classic. And the one thing that Alabama's got going for them is they have just dominated the rivalry as of late. And nobody on that field for Auburn has been part of a win. And that's pre-COVID. Bo Nix is the quarterback in 2019. You win 5 straight Iron Bowls. It's pretty good as Kalen DeBoer is all smiles. And again, Alabama just has so much more to play for. Obviously, you always want to beat your rival, but we've showed you throughout the game today, if Alabama wins that, likely playing for an SEC championship in the college football playoff. Flag flies.
Illegal formation on the offense, more than 4 in the backfield. That's a 5-yard penalty with a big play at second down.
Well, and it's also important to remember, Jay, with the Iron Bowl next week, DJ Durkin, he's the interim coach. He wants to put on a display. I'm sure he'd like to, possibly be considered for that job. So it's going to be all hands on deck to go in there and get that thing done.
Well, that's the other thing that's swirling. It's either college football playoff conversation or coaching carousel conversation.
How many times do I say that, Jay, during the course of the year we're together? So those are the 2 dominating conversations, CFP and who's going to get fired and who's going to get a job. And it's amazing the amount of coaching vacancies there have been without even being the end of the season yet. I was told they would be a little less hasty to fire coaches because then there's a buyout. If you have the buyout, then it's not money you can spend in NIL. It's been the opposite.
Yeah.
These programs have been quick to move on from head coaches. I think in a lot of instances too quick.
And then you got the whole Lane Kiffin debacle where the AD has to come out yesterday and say, hey, we're going to put out an announcement after the Egg Bowl. My first thought is, well, if he's staying, why wouldn't you just say now he's staying?
Well, yeah.
So. But try and stay off the message boards, everybody.
Good luck. Good luck. They can be a lot of fun.
Even I was finding myself down the rabbit hole yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're hearing things about Kalen DeBoer and how Penn State's calling him. And I think a lot of it is a lot of words and not a lot of action. And we talked with DeBoer yesterday. He is so focused on this team trying to win an SEC championship, trying to win a national championship. And he said these players are so committed to the program, into the University of Alabama. Good return there. Lee getting an opportunity on the punt return for 25 with Bama up 49. Even up 49-0. Great atmosphere here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Tuscaloosa on a Saturday always delivers. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. Is this the final home game here at Saban Field, or will they have one more in the college football playoff? That'll be the conversation to unfold in the next couple of weeks. Well, they have not put a foot wrong today. Austin Mack back out there with the 2s and the 3s on offense. Nearly 500 total yards of offense, and the defense has only allowed 23. And Rocky, you said before the kick, today was all about cleaning up some things that you didn't do against Oklahoma. There's a rare penalty. Haven't seen many of those against Alabama today, only 4, including that one.
I mean, the first thing we talked about is running the ball, right? Cleaning that up, and I think they've done that. 237 rush yards.
Season high.
Yeah, 7 rushing touchdowns.
There's Mack throwing on the run, right on target. Some shiftiness there. MJ Shirtwin, the 5th-year senior from California.
Fancy footwork there. The kids call that breaking ankles. Nice run.
Trey Washington, flag flies in.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense, number 48. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot and carries an automatic first down.
Automatic first down for Alabama as they go into Eastern Illinois territory.
I was getting ready to say the rare native yards play by this defense.
Cade Carruth coming in, middle of the drive. Give Carruth an opportunity. He'll be the fourth Alabama quarterback to take a snap today. But one of the goals of a game like this is play as many players as you can at all positions. And Carruth, they call his own number. Gain of 10.
And you know Carruth on that read option there, he was keeping that thing 100%. He got an opportunity. He's going to run it. Comes in for one play.
And now it's the scout team quarterback, big number 13, John Gazzaniga, 6'7", 250 pounds. They told us this kid's got a rocket arm, but don't think he'll be allowed to throw it. They do keep it on the ground. Gazzaniga, Kalen DeBoer said, sometimes he lights up the Alabama ones, and he looks over to the defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, and goes, hey, how did that happen? He goes, look, the quarterback we're playing, he doesn't have as good an arm as Big John.
That's it. I mean, and great work for the Alabama defense, certainly. A guy like that on the scout team that can fling it around like he does.
It comes from California. His high school coach was Carson Palmer. Pretty good tutelage there.
Let him throw one here. Come on. Let him take a shot.
Well, you know the number one defense is watching, thinking, yeah, finally he's not doing it against us. And DeBoer said he's been an outstanding scout team quarterback this season. And he says if he gets into the game, which now he is, that's a good thing for us because that means we're up big. Right. Gazzaniga breaking the huddle ahead of the 2-minute timeout here. Just letting them hand it off. A.K. Deer continues to pile up the carries. Gain of 6 there. And that brings us to the 2-minute timeout.
They're going to try to get a snap off here. Come on, let him throw one.
Can't get it off in time. 2 minutes left as Alabama,
2-minute
Kalen
timeout.
DeBoer headed to 9-2. A whole lot of dancing and cheering in Tuscaloosa. 2 minutes left in this one. Alabama, a 49-0 lead. Rocky Boyman, Jay Alter with you. Torrey Petrie down on the field. 7 touchdowns for Alabama. All of them have come on the ground. 533 total yards. Gazzaniga, the scout team quarterback, they let him run it there. Their walk-on freshman who's led the scout team for Kalen DeBoer all season long, getting an opportunity in a 7-touchdown lead. You know he wants to find the end zone, right?
Oh, heck yeah. He's looking over and said, come on, coach, call me a play. We can get in the end zone.
Hands it off to A.K. Deer, and he finds the end zone for a second time today. And the last time Alabama had 8 rushing touchdowns in a game, 1979 against Vanderbilt.
That was an important score for some out there.
Yeah.
Punching this ball in.
Sweating it out on a Saturday afternoon.
There you go. Nice cut by A.K. Deer there.
We were told A.K. Deer was the one to watch today out of the backfield. Only had 7 touches on the season coming into today. Had 11, 9 carries, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and that gives you something to think about going into the Iron Bowl is, hey, do we give A.K. Deer an opportunity out of the backfield here? Look, a running back room that just hasn't produced at the Alabama standard this season.
Yeah, it is. When he comes in the game, 9 rushes for 45 yards, 5 yards per carry. I think it's something to think about.
All eyes on the Iron Bowl. We've said it throughout the broadcast, but if Alabama wins, more than likely they would find a way to the SEC championship game. 72% chance with a win. Also, you'd think would lock up a spot in the college football playoff. And I've kind of joked with you throughout the week ever since the committee released it on Tuesday. I think they should be above Notre Dame if you look at the resume. Now, we've been getting updates from our production crew because our 2 alma maters are playing today. You went to Notre Dame, I went to Syracuse, and they said that Notre Dame was up 21-0 without running an offensive play. How does that happen? And now they're up 49-0, and it's a second quarter.
Yeah, I like to go in the archives and see how the last time that happened. 21 points with no offensive play. But look, I sympathize with Alabama fans wondering why Notre Dame ranked ahead of them, especially with Notre Dame having those 2 losses at the beginning of the season. And to me, what I was always told was that, you know, they look at your wins, right? The great wins that you have. Certainly Alabama has much better wins than Notre Dame.
No doubt about that. And you wonder, obviously, if you're Alabama, you win the Iron Bowl, you get to an SEC championship game. You worry, well, will a loss hurt us? I think no. I think there's some precedent there with SMU losing to Clemson last year and still making the college football playoff. I don't think you should be penalized for playing in your conference championship game and losing it. But if you win it, I think you could vault right back into that top 4 where they were a week ago before the loss to Oklahoma. So plenty to discuss. And of course, the name Connor Talty will be talked about. That 28-yard field goal miss in the first half.
Yeah, maybe one of the only negatives to come out of this game for Alabama.
That might get more attention than the 8 rushing touchdowns in a game for the first time since the 1970s.
Certainly. Certainly is.
Well, that'll finish it here in Tuscaloosa. 56-0 win for Alabama. Nice bounce back. Kalen DeBoer saying you can learn a lot from a loss. We certainly did when we lost the first game of the season to Florida State. Rattled off 8 straight wins before that loss to Oklahoma. They're hoping this win can launch into another win streak that'll result in some trophies come the end of the season. Shutout complete, and the 14th time in program history an Alabama defense has held their opponent under 60 total yards. And let's hear from the Alabama head coach, Kalen DeBoer, with Tori Petra.
Coach, your staff told us heading into this one there were 3 big priorities today. You wanted to get your run game going, play clean on special teams, and how you did in those 3 areas.
Yeah, I think, you know, these games push all those things at the highest level, but I'm proud of the way the guys prepared, and that's what I care about the most throughout the week. And a lot of opportunities for a lot of guys to go out here and play and perform.
A lot of your young guys got an opportunity to get in there today. What did you learn about your depth today?
Well, I'm go in there, and you know, those guys at the end of the game, and they're the program guys. They're the guys that help make our culture what it is, and so, you know, everyone's excited that they get a chance to go out there and do their thing.
You turn the page today to the Iron Bowl. How important is it to win out in the rest of your regular season?
Yeah, no question. This is what it comes down to, week 12, and the game itself, what we get to play for. Guys are going to be fired up. I know we'll have a great week.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Kalen DeBoer told us all week in practice he got the response he was looking for after that loss, and now they put it together, and you see the response on a Saturday, hoping to carry that in to the Iron Bowl as we go back to Tori, who's standing by with Tim Keenan.
Tim, your defensive coordinator challenged you guys to pitch a shutout today, and you did. As a leader on this defense, what impressed you most about your defensive effort?
A shutout is always great. It shows what can happen once you execute, do your job, and go out there and have fun with your brothers. So getting that goose egg is definitely big for us.
You head into the Iron Bowl now after this one. Time to think about that last game of the regular season. As somebody who's experienced plenty of Iron Bowls, what is it like preparing for Iron Bowl week?
I'm going to enjoy this win right now. I'll worry about the Iron Bowl next week. But right now, that 24-hour rule, enjoy this goose egg with my guys, especially what might be the last game at Bryant-Denny Stadium and the senior day, so I'm just enjoy the day.
Well, congratulations.
And thank you.
To 0.